Hi, this video is going to show you how to use the Automarketer system and how it works. Right now there's a drop-down menu, and this is the page that we're on, the Automarketer page. There's also, for some of you, you'll see Automarketer Old. If you've had campaigns in the past where you scraped Craigslist, which we no longer scrape, it'll show up as this Automarketer Old, and there may be some information in there. It's not functioning anymore, but at least it'll still have your stats in there and your details about your leads, so you can go to that if you need to. You probably won't need to be in this very much from here out. In the future, we may bring Craigslist back, but not now. We're also going to be adding absentee owners in the future, so that'll be a nice thing in the future as well. But let me show you how this works. Each one of these is a different campaign, and you're only going to see two of them. When you first open up this, you're going to see two default campaigns. They're going to have this little blue thing next to them, the 3-month campaign and a single blast campaign. And you're probably going to want to use the 3-month campaign because we're using Zillow. I'm going to show you one of the 3-month campaigns that I created in a minute, but let me show you what all this stuff means in this particular campaign. What I've done is I've added some information to the campaign name just to kind of give me an idea of which cities I picked for this campaign to work in. So that's what this is. And you can change this when you click on this button there. I'll show you how to change that. This shows that this campaign is inactive right now. It's not sending out and it's not scraping. If you want to activate it, you can click on this inactive button and it'll change to a green active. Or you can click on this Run This Campaign Play button and it'll turn this into an active campaign as well. This limit is the overall total limit that this campaign is going to be allowed to do. So the reason I put this in here is so that it won't just continue to run forever unless you want it to run forever. So right now we know that if it sends out 1,000 of these blasts to and scrapes 1,000 of these, it's going to cost you around $32 to do that. And if you mouse over this, it'll tell you what exactly you're paying for. This includes the cost per lead, which is 8 cents a piece, the outbound message, if you're doing a text blast, of 2.5 cents per text, and then any inbound message cost, and we're just approximating it at 20% on this one at 2.5 cents, and that would give you $32.50 if it scraped that many leads. But in this particular area that I picked, there were only 172 leads to pull. And so it's going to base that on, and this value is incorrect, by the way, because we hadn't fixed it at that point, but it would be based on 8 cents per lead scraped, and this would be this cost here, which would be right around $13 for 172 scraped ads. On the sent, this is after they're scraped, then they're sent, and they're text blast, and that's 2.5 cents per sent lead, and this should be accurate on that. And then the actual leads that came in is 48 leads. And this cost per lead is wrong because these numbers are wrong, but this will actually calculate your cost per lead. But you can see this had a 34% response rate, which is pretty phenomenal. You'll also have your campaigns, your click rates on your campaign. So this tells you how many people clicked on your campaign. And this is the total clicks at the top and then the unique clicks at the bottom. So total clicks, one person could click more than once. This next section tells you how many, when the next scrape is going to happen, and it'll usually have a time in here. And if you click on this more info, it'll pull up a little thing that'll explain how this thing works. So the system scrapes once a day if you tell it to scrape once a day, but you can also tell it to scrape once every 2 days or once every 7 days, all the way up to every 14 days. And it'll continue to scrape whenever you tell it to. These next buttons here, you can reset this campaign, and what this does is it resets the stats on this campaign, so it can turn all these numbers back to 0 again, and you can start from scratch. I rarely use this. I like to keep my stats, and rather than resetting, I'd rather clone the campaign instead. And if you click on clone this campaign, it'll walk you through, it'll just clone the campaign, and you can give it a new name. You can remove this campaign or delete this campaign if you decide not to use it anymore. And this is, you can edit the campaign, and you can either click on this to edit, or you can click on this link here to edit as well. Now, if you default or you accidentally remove this campaign, you delete this campaign, you can always come back here and restore your default campaigns. It won't restore ones that you've created, but it will restore the 2 default campaigns that are in this system if you lose them or if you accidentally delete them. We won't be able to get that data back for you if you accidentally delete them. So make sure if you delete that you intend to do that. All right, so that's the system all the way down for each one of these campaigns. Let's go in and show you how to edit the campaign. This is set up as a wizard, so it's really easy to do. First of all is you can give a title to your campaign, and this would change the name of the campaign, and I'm going to keep it with this right now. All I did was add the cities on here so that I would be able to look at a glance in the dashboard and know what cities that particular campaign is for and what type of campaign it is, which is a 3-month campaign. I can also pick which phone number I want this text to be sent out from. So let's say that I'm working in Indiana and I've got another campaign that I want to work with that's in California. Well, Indiana's got a 317 area code, and California, I could go out here to the phone system over here and I could buy another phone number. I could buy a 213 area code phone number. That way, when I do a blast to California, even though I'm in Indiana, it'll look like I'm a local there, and they'll get a phone call from a local instead of someone who's from out of town. So it makes it a little bit easier for them to trust you because it makes you feel like a local. And you can change these campaigns to a different number if you choose. So if you don't, if you've only got one number in the system, it'll pick that number and use that as the default number for you, and it'll send out your campaign for that. So you don't have to think about this too much when you're just getting started. The next thing is to pick the Zillow category, and you've got 2 choices, for rent or for sale by owner. I would suggest you stick with for sale by owner and not do for rent until you are a little bit more, till you're a little deeper into the system and start to understand it a little bit better, because a lot of the for rent people have property managers, some of them have realtors, and you might want to stay away from that. Some of them are apartments, so you might want to stay away from that for now. After that, you can choose which area that you want to work in. There are 2 of these that are working right now, and we're working on a 3rd one that's going to be cool. I'm going to show you how this one's going to work when we finally bring it back to life. Right now it's going to be disabled, or it's not going to show up on your account. But if I want to, I can select the city, and let's say I want to be in Indiana, and I want to be in, let's say, California. So I'm going to be in those 2 areas. Always choose your states first, and then you can go in and you can pick your cities. If you pick a state and then pick the cities, and then come back and pick the next state, it'll overwrite these cities. So make sure you pick your states first. So let's say I want Indianapolis, and I want Los Angeles. So I'm going to pick, and by the way, I would probably clone the campaign and create a second campaign for each area rather than do it this way. But I just want to show you that you can do it this way if you'd like to. So once that's done, you can hit Save Progress, and it'll do that for you. Let's get rid of California for a second, and let me just show you Indianapolis and what happens if you pick that. If I've got Indianapolis chosen, I can then go here to click to see the cost of this campaign, and it's going to spin for a little bit here, but it's going to bring up some numbers. It's going to go into Zillow. It's going to find how many are in there under Indianapolis right now, and it's going to tell me what it's going to cost to run this campaign. And it looks like there's 150 ads under this criteria right now. If I go to Zillow, and if you pay 8 cents per ad for that, it's going to cost you $12.64. And that's going to come out of your $20 credit, by the way. And if you spend more than your $20 credit, then it's going to charge your card in $20 increments as you need more money. And by the way, if you want to add your card, you just go here to Settings and add your credit card to your account if you haven't already done that. The cost to send the message at 2.5 cents per ad is going to cost you $3.95 for 158 of them. the estimated response rate, let's say it's 30%, and I estimated high, it's probably going to be somewhere around 10 or 20. I've seen 5%, I've seen 50%, but I just put it at 30 because I wanted it to be a little bit higher than average. And if you had 47 leads, or 47 leads is 30% of 158. So if you got 47 leads and you got responses from text on those, you're paying for the incoming texts as well at 2.5 cents per text. That'd be $1.19. So your estimated total cost of this particular campaign would be $17.77. And you might want to read this verbiage down here because it explains a little bit more about this process as well. Because the campaign will continue after you do this initial blast, and there may be 1 or 2 or 3 new ads that come on to Zillow every day, and it's going to go in there and find those ads, and it's going to pull them into the system as well. And then you're going to be charged for this. So remember, these are just guesstimates, but they're going to be fairly close. So that means that if you did get this many responses, you're looking at 38 cents per lead. I think you can probably count on it costing you somewhere between 50 cents and $1 per lead. That won't be unusual. I also put down below here, if you had 1,000 as your limit, which you've put up here, then this is what it would cost you to run this entire campaign for 1,000 ads. Now, obviously, there's only 176 leads here, and it's probably it's not going to get to 1,000 for a long time, but that's what it would cost if you sent out all of them. So I wanted to do this just so you understand what your costs are going to be in addition to what you're paying monthly for the Automarketer. And by the way, if you need to put your credit card information in, click on this button and it'll take you to this account settings section, and you can put in your credit card information if you need to run more money. It'll show that the billing has failed on the dashboard if your credit card doesn't go through. All right, so that's one way to pick a city. The other way is to pick by zip code. And I can pick as many zip codes as I want. So, and you can't do this on Zillow, but we've got it set up so that you can do it on our system. So if I just want one zip code, I can do that. Just put a comma after it. If I want another one, if I put a comma after that, I can just keep adding these and have as many of them as I want. And then when I click to see the cost of this campaign, it'll go in and look at these properties that are in this zip code, and it'll give you a price on those as well. It'll also save the campaign. All right, so once you've saved the campaign, you can go to the next step, which is click on this next button, or you can click on step number 2, and it'll take you to the next ability to do searches, to do different types of searches. Before I leave, let me also just say real quick about this Zillow. Zillow is going to allow us to go into Zillow and pick an area. So once I go into Zillow, I'll be able to draw areas that I want to look at, and then I can hit apply, and it'll look only in those areas. And then I'll be able to grab the URL from Zillow and then come back here and paste it into this. So this is coming hopefully in a fairly short order. We're working on it. Right now it's probably not even showing up on your page at all. This section here, if you're using either search by city and state or search by zip code, you can also put in keywords. You can put in the type of house, and Zillow allows you to do house, condo, apartment, duplex, mobile, or land, or townhouse, and you're going to just pick the 3 most of the time. But you have the ability to scrape the others if you want to. And you can put in a maximum and minimum price and square footage. You can put bedrooms and baths. I always keep my default at 1. I want to make sure there's at least a bedroom in the place so I don't get vacant land. And then I can put lot sizes in if I want. I just leave most of this blank except for this section here. But we wanted to create this search function in here so that if you wanted to do something different, you could do that. There's some other things that we've been testing by doing more advanced searches. Once that's done, you can save the progress and then go on to step 3. And this is where you pick the campaign. Now, the default campaign has the 3-month campaign already chosen on it. And that's probably the one you want to use. you can create a new follow-up campaign so you can have a series of texts that go out in any order that you want. You can also have it send voice blast or ringless voice blast if you choose to do that. You just have to set up a follow-up campaign to make that happen. Or you can edit the existing follow-up campaign. I would suggest that you clone the campaign if you're just going to edit it, so that you always have this one that you can come back to. So let me explain what a campaign is. It's a series, in this case, it's a series of text messages, but it can be a series of text messages, voice blasts, email blasts, or tasks that need to be performed. This is a series of text messages, and it'll probably be the only thing you need, at least as you're getting started. And what happens is, as soon as we scrape the ad, then it'll send out a text blast, and it'll send out this first text blast in the series. And this is the message that'll go out. I saw your home advertised, and I was wondering if you consider selling it rent to buy. If so, I'd be interested. Please let me know. Thank you. And that's all that goes out. Just goes out like that. And if they respond either by phone, if they call that phone number back, they'll leave a message, and that'll become a lead. Or if they text back, it'll become a lead as well. And then you can go to lead management to actually view the leads. And if you go in there, there's an instruction on how to view your leads and how to deal with your leads. On day 4, this campaign is set up so it waits, and then on day 4, another message is sent. And this time, it's a little different message, and it also sends them a URL of one of your clone sites. And this is the rent-to-own seller site that explains how the rent-to-own seller program works. And they can go to this website, and there's a place on there at that website where they can fill out a form, and if they fill out a form, they become a lead, or they may just respond directly to this. And then the system will also keep track of how many times they click on these links in these campaigns. So you'll be able to keep track of how many people are actually clicking on your pages. Then it's set up so on day 8, another message goes out. This is a different URL. This is to the We Will Buy clone site. And then another one goes out that's just a text message. It tries it again. And then on day 22, another one goes out that's the rent-to-own seller site again. And then on day 29, another one goes out, except this time it's taking them to your Subject 2 FSBO site that explains how Subject 2 works. And this goes on for 3 months, all the way up to 85 days. So we're going to keep dripping on these same leads that are coming in for 85 days. Now, the nice thing about this system is with Zillow, once you scrape an ad and we've got it into the system, you don't have to scrape it again. With Craigslist, we had to scrape it over and over again. As a matter of fact, Zillow and Craigslist have about the same number of properties advertised on them. They're almost exactly the same. Except with Craigslist, we have to scrape 10 times as many ads because people keep posting them over and over and over again. So instead of doing that, we're going to be able to pull them off once and start dripping on them over a 3-month period. A lot of times people will say no the first time you contact them, but on week 2 or week 3 or week 4 or week 6, they may be ready to go. Because eventually they're going to get tired of trying to sell for sell by owner, because we know that 85 to 95% of them won't succeed. The statistic is that maybe 15%, maybe 5% succeed as for sell by owners, depending on the area. So the rest of the people have to either take it off the market or list it with a realtor, or take one of your solutions if you show them the right solution that makes sense for them. All right, so that's the campaign. After that, you can go look at step number 4, and you're going to see that the campaign is set it up, create the lead as a seller, because these are going to be all seller leads that come in. If you did a different kind of campaign, you could do buyer campaigns as well, but we're not going to do that right now. And it'll label them as a campaign in the lead dashboard. You can also have this set up to notify the following users for all of the classified and unclassified incoming messages. So if they're classified as yes, they'll be sent to you. If they're classified as no, you're going to get those as well. And you can create as many team members as you like. And just go to team management, and it'll show you how to set up a team member. as you can see on this one, I've got multiple team members that I can have it sent to. And right now I'm sending a message to Daniel. I'm sending one to Joseph every time a lead comes in. So I get to see the lead that comes in, and the guy who's making the call, he's going to be able to see the leads that come in as well. If I wanted my admin person to get those leads, I can have them send an email every time a lead comes in as well. Also, I want to add a tag, and this is something you're going to want to do because it's not going to be a standard or default in your system. So go in here and copy the name of your campaign, whatever you've decided to call it, and then come over and create a tag. And you can paste it in here, and it'll all be in there. And then when I hit create tag, I'm not going to do it because I've already created one. It's going to create this little tag right here. And if you put commas in it, it'll create more than one tag, by the way. So make sure there's no commas in your name here. If you want multiple tags, you can do them at the same time, but just separate them by commas. So now it's going to label that person as coming in from this campaign. So when you go into lead management, you're going to see right off the bat that, oh yeah, that person came in from this particular campaign, and it'll help you categorize them when you're dealing with your leads. This section down below is a categorization section. And I've got it set up so that it can categorize it as a yes lead or a no lead. And it works maybe 40% of the time, 50% of the time, where it'll actually figure it out. And it's just kind of a basic AI to try to figure out whether it's a yes or no. And we did it with keywords. So if they say yes, or they're serious, or where are you located, it'll show up as a yes lead. If it shows up as not interested, I doubt it, selling only, then it'll be categorized as a no lead. And it puts them into different campaigns based upon what lead they're in. And you can turn these on or off, you can change them, you can add to them, you can edit them, you can create new search criteria for it to look for. You can also add them automatically to a campaign by doing that. So right now, if I edit this yes campaign, you'll see that these are the keywords that I can edit. I can have specific users notified if it comes in under one of these campaigns, and I can tell it which campaign to add it to. And if I want to, I can create new campaigns to fit any need that I have. So I can then go here and I can see all the campaigns in the system, or I can create my own campaign when that happens. That way, if I want to have a template for a list of tasks that need to be done, I can do that. Or if I want this person to be sent a different series of text blasts, I can do that, and it'll make it work that way. So that's step number 4. Once that's done, you can save the progress and then go to the next step, or you can click on step 5, and this allows you to start the campaign now. Immediately click on this and everything starts happening, or I can schedule it for a later date, and I can click on this and it'll allow me to put in a date, and then I can hit schedule for a later date, save the progress, and it'll start it on the date and time that I tell it to. So let's go back to the dashboard again one more time. One more thing up here is I can give it by campaign status. So if I only want to look at the campaigns that I've got that are active, I can click on this button and it'll show me just the campaigns that are active. Or if I want to see only the inactive ones, I can do it that way. I can also do a date range of the campaigns that I want to look at. So if I want to look at only campaigns that started, a week ago all the way up to today, I can put that in there, and it'll show me all the campaigns from that time. So you can archive older campaigns this way. If you want to add a brand new campaign, you can do it just by clicking on New Campaign. And if you have leads that you want to blacklist, I made it easy to do here. All right, that's the video for the Automarketer. Hope you enjoy it.